Have you ever wanted to equip and unequip weapons using spawn and destroy actor? Well, in this tutorial I'll show you how, so let's get started. Okay, so to start out with, we're going to download the assets off of Mixamo. I'm just going to show them on the screen briefly for about 5 seconds. And what you want to do is you're going to download them and then put them on your desktop, and then we'll continue from there. All right, let's begin. First, start with the Xbot. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on. We're going to go to our 5.4 project, and then from there we're gonna install one more asset. Okay, I'll see you there. Okay, so now that we're inside of our project, let's go ahead and we're going to download our assets. But the first asset we're going to grab is our sword. So we're just going to go ahead and go to the Fab Marketplace right here. Now, typically, okay, so right here you can see they got the Quixel assets right here. Now I'm gonna actually show you. I'm gonna go into where my library is. And if you look here in your library, you'll see you can browse Quixel assets right here. And what it's going to do is it's going to change the search term here to this one. So I know some of you may not have gotten the free Quixel assets. That's okay. Just find a static longsword. That's all you need to do. So, all right. So this is how we're going to grab this asset. We're just going to type in the word sword right here. And then I'm just going to use the plain regular sword. We're going to click into it. And that's it. And we're just going to go ahead and add this to the project. So, again, any sword will do, but if you have if you took advantage of the Quixel assets when they were free, then yeah, just add this to your project. Do a Control-Shift-S to save, and we can close this extra window. And we can close the Fab window as well. Okay, so from this point, we're going to go to the content drawer, and we've got our Fab folder here, and this is where our sword is. What we're going to do right now is we're going to right click and we're going to create a folder, and we're just going to call it Mixamo. Inside that folder, we're going to create another folder, and this is going to be called Animations. And then what we want to do is, because I've downloaded the file and put it on my desktop, we're going to select Import. Go to my desktop. On my desktop right here, I have the Xbot. So we're going to download this one by itself first, okay? And all you have to do is just select the single import, and it should be fine. And again, you can close all this. We won't need these particular tabs open. And as you can see here, we got the star. We can do a Control-Shift-S, and that'll save everything. Now, double-click, go into your animation folder, select Import again. And what you want to do is you want to hold down the Control button, and you want to do a left-click and select each of the 3 assets. So you should have Great Sword 2, the slash, and a Great Sword 1. So one's a draw, one's a sheath, and just hit open. We're going to select the skeleton we just downloaded, which is the Xbox skeleton, and we're going to select Import All because we have multiple animations. All right, do a Control-Shift-S, and we're just going to right-click on one of these, and we're going to do a retarget animation. And right here, where it says Target Skeleton Mesh, we're going to type in the word Simple. And we're going to use the Simple Quinn. Now, while we're here, we're going to select all of these. You can do a left click and a shift, and do a left click at the bottom here. And we can just go ahead and select Export Animations. For the export prefix, we're going to type in QNY underscore, and that's going to put the actual this in front of the animation so we know the difference. We're going to go to our Mixamo folder. We're going to go to Animations. And then we're just going to select Export. And while we have these 3 selected, we're going to first, let's do a Control-Shift-S. And actually, you know what, we can close this. We go into our folder here, and we're going to select the assets we just made. And we're going to right-click. Now, we only want to do the Quinn skeleton. And we're going to create an anim montage, okay? And then we're going to do a Control-Shift-S again. Now, for this next part, we're going to open up one of these animations. We can do this this draw sword here, and we can just take this tab and put it up here. Okay, so right here, we're going to select the skeleton right here. And what we want to do is we want to add some sockets, okay? So let's go ahead and start with this spline or spine 5. We're going to right click here, and then what we're going to do is we're going to add a socket, okay? We're going to select the socket, and we're going to change the name of this to spine weapon socket, okay? No spaces, no underscores, nothing, okay? And then we're going to hit save. Now, the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to have to go to the hand socket, okay? And we want to use the right hand socket because our animations will use that to draw and sheath the sword. We're going to right click, and then once again, we're going to add a socket. And for the socket, we're going to change the name of it to RH weapon socket. So that'll represent the right hand weapon socket. And then we're going to hit save. Now, while we're here, we're going to need to add an actual preview mesh. Just highlight it and then type in sword. And that's where the sword will go. Now, we've got this here, but we also need to add one back on the spine. So let's go back up to the spine, to that socket, and we're going to need to add the same thing. We're going to add a preview, and we're going to add the sword. Like so. Now, this part should be pretty simple. So you want to use your mouse scroll back just to slow down so you're not zipping all over the port. And then the other thing we're going to want to do here is we're going to select a preview animation. And the preview animation we're going to we're just going to type in draw. Okay? And you can use this first one here, which is fine. What we want to do is we want to pause this, and we want to set this up. So let's go ahead. First, we're going to start like this. So you want to set up the hand. So set your character like this. And right here, I'm going to speed run through this. But basically, the idea is to use the W and E keys to toggle between the two different widgets, and then to make sure that the weapon fits correctly, okay? You want to do this for the front here, and you also want to do it for the back. So you want to do it spine 1, and also for the right hand. Okay, so you can watch me do it, and hopefully it'll give you an idea. Now, again, it's going to be a little bit quick. All right, here we go. Okay, so once you have those set, so there was two things that I wanted you to notice. I actually turned this off right here. That just makes the increments go by the values here, and I do that because it gives it more of a fine tune. So that's kind of what's going on there. So once you have this set up and it looks good, it's fine, and it doesn't have to. Oh, doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to match up. So like right here, so even when the character puts the sword back and it snaps into place, it's going to look like he just threw it onto his back. So all right, that should conclude this part. So right now we can close out this particular tab, but let's leave this one up and make sure we save. And the reason for that is we're going to copy these sockets, like this socket here, we're going to copy this into our blueprint. So now we're going to need to go ahead and open up the third person character. Go to your content drawer, go to third person, go to blueprint, open up the third person character. Now we want to go right up here a bit, and this is where we're going to start our code, okay? Okay, so to start out with, well, first let me zoom in a bit. So, and we want to be right above this this add mapping context. So right above here, a couple blocks up, we're going to do it right here. So right here, I'm going to zoom in. We're going to right click. We're going to do a custom event. And for the custom event, we're going to call it equip, or equip weapon. And then right off of here, we're going to do a right click and we're going to do a play montage. And we can hook this up. Next, we're going to pull right off of here and we're going to do a destroy actor. Then we're going to hold the deke button down and then we're going to hit a left and that's going to give us a delay and we're going to add a delay right here. Next, we're going to right click and we're going to do a spawn actor from class. Actor from class. Okay, so while we're here, we're gonna, I almost forgot. Well, I didn't almost forget, I definitely forgot. We're gonna need to make a weapon. So we're gonna hit the content drawer right here. We're gonna right click and we're gonna create the actor by going to blueprint class. We're gonna select the actor. We're gonna call this BP underscore sword. We're gonna double click into it. And then right here, we're gonna select the add and we're gonna add a static mesh. And we don't have to leave it as static mesh. We can call it sword mesh. And enter. We're gonna do a compile and a save. Now for the sword mesh, we're going to just go over here with this highlighted, and we're gonna select sword. And like so, we're gonna do a compile and a save. And we wanna leave it in its default. Make sure, all this is 0, the scale's 1, everything. Once this is all set, everything's fine. Now, the other thing we're gonna need to do with this mesh is we're gonna do a compile and save. We're gonna go down and we're gonna go to the actual collision because this mesh has a collision. So we're gonna open up the collision preset. Right here, we're gonna change this from block all dynamic to custom. And what we wanna do is we wanna ignore the camera and we wanna overlap the pawn, okay? And then we wanna do a compile and save. And that's all we're gonna need for this particular blueprint. So we can close this out. Okay, so to start out with, we're gonna need to add the mesh right here for the skeletal mesh. We're gonna need to do the play montage. Because it's the equip, we're gonna do the draw. Now for this blueprint actor class, we're gonna use the BP sword we just created, like so. And then we wanna do is we wanna do a compile and, oh wait. Yeah, we wanna do a compile and save. What we wanna do right here is we wanna get socket transform. And that's gonna be from the mesh, okay? We're gonna move this right here. And like I said earlier, we're gonna need to populate this socket. So what we wanna do is go back to our mannequin and we need the spine because that's what we're grabbing. So we're grabbing it from the spine. So we're gonna copy this spine weapon socket, and we're gonna paste this right inside of here. Do a compile and save. Yeah, whenever you're doing something, if you don't add a transform, it won't work. So yeah, it's very important to do that. Okay, so this is very important. Make sure you have this, make sure you have that. And then what we wanna do is we wanna promote this. And we're gonna name this to hand weapon. That's what we're gonna name this right here for. Now we're gonna need to attach this component. Okay, so we're gonna need to do an attach actor to component. And we wanna hook this up for the target and we wanna hook this up here as well, okay? Now for the parent, we're going to need to drive this off of the mesh so we can drag this, click this right here. We're gonna double click this just to make a reroute node, just so we can see our code nice and clear, okay? The other thing is right here on this attach to actor, you're gonna need to do a snap to target for each one of these here. because that's what we want. And then the other thing is we're going to have to add a Boolean. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to go to the variables. We're going to add the Boolean. And we're going to say is equipped or is weapon equipped question mark. And we can just go ahead and we can hold down the Alt key and we can drag that right here and we can put it right, or no, not, don't do that, but do this right here. And we can say, yes, the weapon is equipped, because if we're doing all this, we're attaching the weapon. Now, this part where the destroyed actor, we're gonna have to also fix that as well. What we're gonna need to do is right here, okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take all this, well, I guess we can add the spine weapon here, hold on. Let's do a hand weapon here, like so, and we'll put it together like this, okay? But we're going to have to change this. So let's go ahead. We're gonna grab all this and we're just gonna copy it, okay? But first let's move it up a bit. So while that's highlighted, hold down Control D and that'll duplicate it, okay? And then now we're gonna have to fix some things here. So, okay, so here's how we're gonna do this, because I did make a mistake. So we're gonna delete this right here, and as well as this is, yeah, I think this is gonna be, we're gonna delete this as well. We're gonna actually delete the hand weapon. Yep, delete that, and we're gonna remake that. So right here, we're gonna type in RH. Let me scroll in here. Weapon socket. Now, what the reason we're doing that is because we want the weapon socket up here. Okay, so this is between these two here. When we promote this variable, we promote it. That's what's going to give us our hand weapon. Okay, and then the next thing we're going to do is, and we're going to make sure we connect these up like so. And then right here, this is still the spine, so we definitely want to use this. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to promote this as well. And we're just going to call this back weapon. I'm sorry, we're going to have to do it up here. Here we go. Back weapon. And make sure we hook this up as well. All right, sorry about the interrupt, but real quick on this part here, I just wanted to show you what would happen. Right now we're working on the sheathing and the equip, but we're also gonna have logic to where we can swing our sword only when the weapon's equipped, and it's gonna look a little bit like this. If you like the video, then like the video. If you're enjoying the content, subscribe. And now back to the video. Okay. So now with this, we're gonna, for this one right here, we're gonna leave this as false, because if the weapon, oh, and that's the other thing, we're gonna change this custom event, and we're just gonna call this sheath weapon. Because when you sheath the weapon, hit compile and save. When you sheath a weapon, that's when it's going to be set to false. So that's very important. That's going to come into play later when we activate our sword, okay? Now, we have to add two things here for the destroyed actor, and I'm going to show you that now. Right here, we're going to need to use the back weapon, okay? So we're going to hook up the back weapon. We're just going to grab it, drag it, drop it right here. Keep your code neat. For the destroyed actor, we're going to use the hand weapon because it's kind of flip-flopped, okay? The other thing that's important here is we're going to hold down the Alt and we're going to release this because we want this to activate on the complete. We don't want it to fire at the same time as this other one. The other thing that we want to do is we want to get rid of the delay here because we don't need it. Okay? Do a compile and a save. Okay, now right here, we're gonna scroll in a little bit. Now you see for this one right here, we want this spine, the weapon to be added to our back at the start of the game. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna highlight and grab all this. Move this over just a bit. Move this right here. Make sure we neaten it up a bit. And then what we want to do is just this part right here, everything from the mesh all the way up to the actor component, we're going to highlight that. And then we're going to go right here to where the event begin play is. And at the end of it, right after the add mapping context, we're going to do a Control D while it's highlighted. And that's going to populate that there. We're going to lower this down a bit, and we're going to drag this off of here and put this right here. And when we do that, that's going to make sure the weapon is populated on us right off the start of the game. Do a compile and save. Okay, and while we're here, since we're doing a sheath weapon, we don't want to do the draw. We want to do the sheath. So we're going to do sheath here. Like so. Compile and save. Okay, so the other thing that's going to be important is that we're going to need to copy this right here, do a Control C, and we're going to need to paste this into the socket for the actor to attach to. Otherwise, it won't attach. Do a compile and a save, and we're going to need to do the same thing for down here as well. So since I already have it copied, just do a Control V, and then we can do a compile and save again. And then as well, up here, we didn't label the socket here as well. We're going to grab the right-hand socket, Control C, and then we're going to Control V, like so. And we're going to do a compile and a save. Okay, so now we're going to need to add the equip logic here. So let's go up here to the top a little bit. We're going to right-click. We're going to do the E key for equipping. So type in E key and then just scroll down until you get to the E. And then what we want to do is we're going to type equip weapon for here. Sorry, let me, I forgot to put my flip-flop here. So we're going to right-click and we're going to type in flip-flop. And we're going to add the flip-flop right here on the pressed. And we're going to put this towards A. And then right here, we're going to drag off, and we're going to type in sheath weapon. Select that as well. So now when you toggle, it'll activate this code for the equip, this code for the sheath. But let's continue. We're going to right-click here. We're going to do a left mouse button. And what we're going to do is we're going to add another piece of logic. So first thing we're going to do is hold down the B button, do a left click and get a branch. We're going to add that here. We're going to take the equipped weapon Boolean, drag it and drop it onto the Boolean or on the branch right here. And then what we want to do is we want to drag off the true and do a play montage. Same thing like before, we're going to grab and drag and add the skeletal mesh to the mesh component. We're going to click on the montage we want to use, and we want to use the greatsword slash, okay? So if the weapon is equipped, then I might have it backwards, but basically, if this is set to true, then you can play the montage. That means weapon is equipped, and then it'll swing the sword. Okay, there was something I just noticed that I spelled something wrong. So this is why, like you see right here, I spelled it wrong, so you get to learn from my mistakes. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the mannequin, and we're gonna go to where the actual socket is. We're gonna select it, and then just select this, copy it, and then make sure that this is spelled right, Control V. Now that one's spelled right, and we're gonna check our other one, and also spell this one right, Control V, like so. Very important. That's why I like to leave, we can do a compile and save. This is why that's why I like to leave this up right here, okay? Hit save, okay. Very important. Okay, that should be everything. So let's go ahead and test it out. So go to third person project here. I guess you can hit save on this is fine. Do a Control Shift S to save everything. And then all you have to do is hit the play button. And as you can see, we start out with our weapon. We can walk around. And what we can do is we can hit the left mouse button and nothing happens, okay? But if we hit E, now we have our weapon. Equipped, unequipped. Equipped, unequipped. Okay, then if we hit the left mouse button, you can tell we can swing now, where we couldn't. But that basically concludes this this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. So please check out the next video that I got posted on the screen, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.